The Sarkoth fleet emerged from hyperspace like a constellation of malevolent stars. Admiral Jax'Nar stood on the command deck of the flagship Inevitability, his 4 eyes narrowing as the blue-green world appeared on the main view screen. Earth. So insignificant looking, yet the source of so much trouble. Final tactical assessment, he asked, his voice a low rumble that carried across the bridge. Strategic Officer Vexparn touched her console, bringing up a holographic display. The humans have detected our arrival, Admiral. Their defenses are mobilizing, but they remain vastly outmatched. Our technology surpasses theirs by approximately 247 years of development. Victory probability, 99.8%. And the 0.2%? Jax'Nar's mandibles clicked with irritation. Vexparn hesitated. Statistical anomaly, Admiral. The humans have a history of defying probability. Jax'Nar chittered softly, the Sarkoth equivalent of a dismissive laugh. Begin the invasion sequence. I want this world under our control within 72 hours. The Conclave has waited long enough. As the first wave of drop ships descended toward Earth's atmosphere, Jax'Nar couldn't help but wonder about that 0.2%. In 3 centuries of Sarkoth expansion, they had never failed to conquer a targeted world. Yet something about these humans made him uneasy. He pushed the thought aside. After all, what could a primitive species possibly do against the might of the greatest empire the galaxy had ever known? Captain Maya Rodriguez crouched behind the remains of what had once been San Francisco's iconic Transamerica Pyramid. 3 days into the invasion, and the city was barely recognizable. The alien ship's massive, obsidian structures that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light hung in the sky like silent judges. Destruction stretched as far as she could see. Status report, she whispered into her comm unit. South team in position, came Dr. Elijah Chen's voice, steady despite everything. Eastern approach secured by Lieutenant Okonkwo. We're ready when you are, Captain. Maya checked her weapon, a standard-issue rifle that had proven frustratingly ineffective against the invaders' armor. Next to it lay something decidedly non-standard, a hastily modified device that Dr. Chen had cobbled together from salvaged alien tech and Earth components. Do we really think this will work? Asked Private Tessa Jackson, her voice low as she gestured toward the device. At 22, she was the youngest member of Maya's squad, her face still bearing the last traces of childhood beneath the grime and exhaustion. It has to, Maya replied, more conviction in her voice than she truly felt. Chen hasn't been wrong yet. 3 days ago, Maya had been preparing for a routine training exercise when the first ships appeared. Within hours, major cities worldwide were under attack. Conventional weapons had minimal effect against the aliens' technology. The military response, while brave, was hopelessly outmatched. Humanity was losing badly, but then reports started coming in. The aliens, for all their technological superiority, were struggling to adapt to Earth's varied environments. Their tactics were textbook perfect but lacked creativity when faced with unexpected resistance. And most importantly, Dr. Chen had discovered a potential weakness in their communication systems. Maya's earpiece crackled. Captain, we've got movement. Large patrol, heading your way. She peered around the corner. 8 Sarkoth soldiers marched in perfect formation down what remained of Montgomery Street. Their armor gleamed despite the dust and smoke, and each carried a weapon that could vaporize a human in seconds. Remember, Maya said to her team, we only get one shot at this. If Chen's right, this device will disrupt their neural network temporarily, just long enough for us to take out the command ship's ground relay. And if he's wrong? Asked Jackson, adjusting her grip on her rifle. Maya met her gaze. Then it's been an honor serving with you all. She raised her hand, counted down silently from 3, and gave the signal. On board the Inevitability, Jax'Nar was losing patience. Explain to me, he said with dangerous calm, why a species with such primitive technology is not yet subjugated. The bridge officers avoided his gaze. Finally, Science Officer Mechleth stepped forward. Admiral, we're encountering difficulties with the humans. Difficulties? Jax'Nar hissed. Our empire has conquered species twice as advanced as these mammals. What possible difficulties could there be? Mek'leth brought up a series of data streams. They're adaptive, sir. Our standard protocols are designed for methodical resistance, but the humans don't follow expected patterns. They retreat, then counterattack where we least expect. They sacrifice strategic positions for seemingly no gain, only to reveal the purpose days later. That's absurd, Jax'Nar snapped. Our strategic AI can predict any logical military response. That's just it, sir, Mek'leth said carefully. They're not always logical. They make emotional decisions, intuitive leaps. The AI can't. A sudden alarm cut him off. Red lights pulsed across the bridge. What now? Jax'Nar demanded. Communication disruption in Sector 7, the comms officer reported. Ground relay under attack. Jax'Nar slammed a clawed hand onto his console. How? Our forces have that area secured. On the tactical display, a small section of San Francisco flashed red. Somehow, a group of humans had penetrated their defenses and were attacking a crucial communication node. Dispatch elite units immediately, Jax'Nar ordered. Crush this resistance. As orders were relayed, Jax'Nar felt something unfamiliar, a twinge of doubt. These humans were proving more troublesome than any species they had encountered before. Maya fired her rifle, the shot connecting with a Sarkoth soldier's helmet joint, one of the few vulnerable spots they'd identified. The alien dropped, but 3 more took its place. Chen's device is working. Jackson shouted over the chaos. They're disorganized. It was true. The normally precise alien movements had become erratic. Their formation had broken down, and their coordinated fire patterns were failing. Push forward. Maya ordered. We need to reach that relay. They advanced through the ruined street, taking advantage of the confusion. For the first time since the invasion began, they had the upper hand, however slight and temporary it might be. A massive explosion rocked the ground as Sergeant Darren Walsh detonated their prepared charges, collapsing a building onto a group of Sarkoth reinforcements. The path to the Rella, a towering spire of alien metal erupting from what had once been a public park, was momentarily clear. Captain. Chen's voice came through her comm, the disruption won't last much longer. Their systems are already adapting. Maya turned to her team. Jackson, Walls, you're with me. The rest of you, hold this position and give us cover. They sprinted toward the relay, dodging energy blasts and debris. Maya's lungs burned, her muscles screamed with exhaustion, but she pushed forward. This was perhaps humanity's only chance to strike a meaningful blow. The relay loomed before them, its surface pulsing with ethereal blue light. Chen had explained its importance. It coordinated all Sarkoth forces in the region and linked them to the command ship. Destroy it, and they might buy Earth precious time to regroup. Charge is set, Walsh reported after what seemed like an eternity, his hands moving with practiced efficiency despite the chaos around them. Multiple hostiles incoming. Jackson warned, firing her rifle at approaching shadows. Maya checked the detonator. Fall back. We've got 30 seconds. They turned to retreat and found their path blocked by a towering Sarkoth warrior, different from the others. Its armor was more elaborate, adorned with symbols of rank. An officer. It raised its weapon. Walsh stepped in front of Maya, firing his rifle. The shots glanced off the alien's armor harmlessly. The Sarkoth fired back, and Walsh crumpled to the ground, a smoking hole in his chest. Walsh! Maya screamed, but there was no time to mourn. The detonator in her hand showed 20 seconds remaining. The Sarkoth officer advanced, its 4 eyes fixed on Maya with cold intelligence. Unlike its troops, it seemed unaffected by the disruption device. Jackson fired, drawing its attention just long enough for Maya to dive for cover. The young private wasn't as lucky. The alien's return shot caught her in the shoulder, spinning her around and dropping her to the ground. 15 seconds. Maya's mind raced. They couldn't outrun the alien, and their weapons were ineffective against its advanced armor. She needed a plan, fast. 10 seconds. A desperate idea formed. Hey, she shouted, standing up from behind her cover. The Sarkoth turned toward her, weapon raised. 0.5 seconds, Maya threw her rifle at the alien's face, a childish, futile gesture that nonetheless caused it to flinch momentarily in surprise. 0.3 seconds, she sprinted forward, diving between its legs and rolling past the alien world, confused by the illogical tactic. 0.1 second, Maya grabbed Jackson's arm and pulled her behind a concrete barrier just as the charges detonated. The explosion was deafening. A shockwave of heat and pressure washed over them, followed by the groaning collapse of the relay structure. The Sarkoth officer disappeared in the conflagration. When Maya's vision cleared, the relay was gone, replaced by a smoking crater. Jackson lay beside her, wounded but alive. "Did we do it?" Jackson asked through gritted teeth. Maya looked up at the sky. The alien ships remained, but something had changed. Several smaller vessels were moving erratically, as if suddenly uncertain of their coordination. "We did something," Maya replied, helping Jackson to her feet. "Let's get back to base while they're disoriented." As they limped away, Maya couldn't help but look back at Walsh's motionless form. One small victory, purchased at a terrible price. But this was just the beginning. Jax'Nar's rage was cold and precise. "You assured me these humans were primitive." The command council shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The loss of the San Francisco relay had cascaded into multiple tactical failures across the region. Human resistance was growing more coordinated by the hour. "Admiral," Strategic Officer Jax'Nar began cautiously, "they are primitive technologically. But we underestimated their adaptability. They learn at an extraordinary rate. They've already salvaged components from our damaged vessels and appear to be reverse engineering them." "Impossible," Jax'Nar dismissed. "No species could integrate our technology so quickly." Science Officer Mechleth cleared his throat. "The evidence suggests otherwise, Admiral. Moreover, they display remarkable psychological resilience. Where other species surrender after demonstrating our overwhelming power, the humans seem to grow more determined with each defeat." Jax'Nar paced the council chamber. "The conclave expects results. I will not be the first Sarkoth commander to fail in conquest. We've identified a human called Dr. Elijah Chen who appears central to their adaptation efforts," Jax'Nar offered. "Capturing him might provide an advantage." "Then do so," Jax'Nar ordered. "And deploy the annihilators. It's time to show these humans the true meaning of hopelessness." 2 weeks later, Maya stood in the underground command center that had once been a subway station beneath Boston. Screens showed similar resistance outposts around the globe: Sydney, Lagos, Mexico City, Moscow. Humanity had gone underground, but it was far from defeated. Dr. Chen approached, dark circles under his eyes betraying his exhaustion. Since San Francisco, he had been working tirelessly to understand the alien technology. "Progress?" Maya asked. Chen nodded cautiously. "Their technology is decades beyond ours, but their thinking isn't. They rely on overwhelming force and predictable strategies. When those fail, they simply intensify rather than adapt." "That's something, at least," Maya said. "We've managed to establish a global communication network using modified Sarkoth relays. The resistance is growing." "There's more," Chen said, lowering his voice. "I've been analyzing their ship movements, energy signatures. I think I've identified their flagship." Maya's pulse quickened. "You think we could target it?" "Potentially. But we'd need to get close, and they've deployed new weapons. The resistance is calling them annihilators. Walking fortresses. Nearly unstoppable." As if on cue, General Williams appeared on the main screen, his face grim. "Captain Rodriguez, Dr. Chen. We have a situation. Boston has been targeted. Evacuation protocols initiated, but we have multiple annihilators inbound. ETA 20 minutes. Maya's mind raced. They couldn't evacuate everyone in 20 minutes, and they couldn't lose Chen. "General, we need more time. We're deploying every available unit to slow them down, but..." Williams didn't need to finish the sentence. The annihilators had decimated every force sent against them so far. "I'll lead a delaying action," Maya decided. "Chen needs to get to Mexico City with his research." Williams looked skeptical. That's suicide, Captain. Maybe not, Chen interjected. I've been working on something, a modification to their own weapons technology. Untested, but theoretically effective against their armor. How theoretically? Maya asked. Chen hesitated. In simulation, it works perfectly. That'll have to do. Get it ready. As Chen hurried away, Maya turned to Williams. Get him out safely, General. He's more important than any of us now. The Annihilators were like nothing Maya had ever seen, towering mechanical monstrosities that combined the worst aspects of tanks and insects. They moved with surprising speed through Boston streets, crushing everything in their path. Maya's team had set up in an ambush position, armed with Chen's modified weapons, conventional rifles fitted with salvaged alien energy cells and hastily crafted focusing mechanisms. Remember, she told her soldiers, aim for the joint sections. Chen believes the energy shield is weakest there. The ground trembled as the first Annihilator rounded the corner, its multiple sensor arrays sweeping the area. Behind it came two more, followed by a contingent of Sarkoth troops. Hold, Maya ordered as tension mounted. Wait for my signal. The lead Annihilator paused, its sensors detecting something amiss. That hesitation was all they needed. Now. The modified rifles fired, emitting beams of concentrated energy that struck the Annihilator's joints. For a heartbeat, nothing happened, then the massive machine shuddered as the energy bypass overloaded its shields in those specific areas. It's working, someone shouted as they continued firing. The Annihilator's leg buckled, sending it crashing into a building. The other machines immediately opened fire, their energy cannons devastating the human positions. Fall back to position 2. Maya ordered as debris rained down around them. They retreated through pre-planned routes, drawing the Sarkoth forces into tight urban corridors where the Annihilator's size worked against them. It was a desperate gambit, but every minute they bought might make the difference for Chen's escape. As they reached their second position, Maya's comm crackled. Captain, we have a problem, came Lieutenant Okonkwo's voice. Sarkoth drop ships landing at extraction point 4. Dr. Chen's transport is cornered. Maya's blood ran cold. Divert all available units there immediately. She turned to her second-in-command. Keep them occupied here. I'm heading to 4. She sprinted through ruined streets and collapsed buildings, the sounds of battle echoing from all directions. Overhead, Sarkoth fighters engaged with the few remaining human aircraft in desperate dogfights. When she reached extraction point 4, the situation was grim. Chen's transport was under heavy fire, pinned down by Sarkoth troops. The doctor himself was returning fire from behind a barricade, alongside a handful of soldiers. Maya joined them, sliding into cover as energy blasts superheated the air above her head. Fancy meeting you here, Captain, Chen said, attempting humor despite the dire situation. Your ride's getting impatient, Maya replied, checking her weapon. We need to clear a path. Chen nodded toward a building across the square. Their commander is directing operations from there. Take it out, and we might create enough confusion to break through. Maya assessed the situation. Getting to that building meant crossing open ground under heavy fire. Suicide, just as Williams had said. She took a deep breath. Cover me. Before Chen could protest, Maya was moving, zigzagging across the square as her team provided suppressing fire. Energy blasts scorched the ground around her, one grazing her arm with white-hot pain. She ignored it, focusing only on her objective. Reaching the building, she crashed through a broken window, coming face to face with two startled Sarkoth soldiers. Her modified rifle fired twice, the energy bursts penetrating their armor at close range. More aliens converged on her position as she fought her way upward, toward the signal source Chen had identified. Each floor was a brutal close-quarters battle against technologically superior foes. Maya relied on speed, unpredictability, and desperate courage, qualities the methodical Sarkoth struggled to counter. Finally, she reached the top floor and found what she was looking for, a Sarkoth command post, centered around a high-ranking officer. The alien turned as she entered, its 4 eyes widening in what might have been surprise. You, it said in halting English the first time Maya had heard one of them speak directly. The human from San Francisco. Recognition dawned. It was the same officer who had killed Walsh, somehow survived the relay explosion. "Remember me?" Maya raised her weapon. "Surrender," the Sarkoth commanded. "You have lost." Maya laughed a sharp, bitter sound. "That's the difference between us. You think because you have better weapons, better ships, you've won. But humans don't surrender just because the odds are against us." "Illogical," the alien stated. "Yeah, we get that a lot." She fired, but the alien was quick, dodging sideways with inhuman speed. Its return shot caught Maya in the leg, sending her crashing to the floor, weapon skittering away. The Sarkoth commander approached, weapon trained on her. "You fight well, for a primitive species. But it changes nothing." Maya's hand closed around a small object in her pocket, a grenade fashioned from salvaged alien technology. Chen's parting gift. "You know what your mistake was?" she asked, grimacing through the pain. "You assumed technological superiority equals victory. But humanity's greatest weapon has never been our technology." The alien tilted its head. "Explain." "Our greatest weapon is that we never, ever give up." Maya pulled the pin and rolled the grenade toward the command console. "And we're really good at improvising." The Sarkoth officer realized the danger too late. The explosion tore through the command post, destroying the coordination systems and sending Maya and the alien commander crashing through the weakened floor to the level below. Dazed and injured, Maya struggled to her feet. The Sarkoth commander lay nearby, its armor breached in multiple places. To her surprise, it was still alive, attempting to reach for its weapon. Maya got there first, pointing the alien's own gun at its head. "Your species is anomalous," the Sarkoth said, its voice distorted by damage. "You should have surrendered when you saw our power." "That's not who we are," Maya replied. "Now call off your forces around the transport." The alien's eyes blinked slowly. "You believe you can win? I believe we'll never stop fighting. Every day we survive, we learn more about your technology, your tactics. We adapt. Can you say the same?" Something like uncertainty flickered in the alien's expression, perhaps the first time this species had experienced doubt in centuries of conquest. On board the Inevitability, Admiral Jax'Nar received the unprecedented report with stunned disbelief. Commander Krelvor had not only been captured but had ordered a tactical withdrawal from the human extraction point. "This is irregular," Vexparn said, breaking the shocked silence on the bridge. "It is unacceptable." Jax'Nar roared. What could possibly justify such an action? The view screen activated, showing Commander Krelvor's battered visage. Behind him stood a human female, the same one who had destroyed the San Francisco relay. "Admiral," Krelvor began, his voice steadied despite his situation. "I have new data regarding the human species that warrants reassessment." "You disgrace the Empire," Jax'Nar hissed. "Release him immediately." He addressed the human. The woman, Captain Maya Rodriguez, according to their intelligence, stepped forward. "Admiral, your commander has seen what you refuse to acknowledge. This invasion will fail. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. Every day, we grow stronger, more knowledgeable about your technology. You can kill us by the millions, but we will never surrender." "Bold words from a species facing extinction," Jax'Nar replied. "If you continue this war," Maya said, "one of two things will happen. Either you'll be forced to obliterate our entire planet, gaining nothing but a Pyrrhic victory, or we'll eventually find a way to defeat you. Your commander has calculated the probabilities. Have you?" Jax'Nar turned to Mek'leth. "Is there any validity to these claims?" The science officer hesitated. "Admiral, our latest assessments show concerning trends. Human adaptation rates exceed all previously encountered species by orders of magnitude. They are already employing modified versions of our technology. If this continues, you have one standard rotation to begin withdrawal," Maya continued. "After that, we release everything we've learned about your technology and weaknesses to every resistance cell worldwide." "You dare threaten?" Jax'Nar began. "It's not a threat," Maya interrupted. "It's a promise. Your commander understands that. Do you?" The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Jax'Nar's mind raced. The Conclave had never authorized a retreat in 3 centuries of expansion. Yet the evidence was becoming undeniable: these humans were different. Their unpredictability, their refusal to follow logical patterns of surrender, their extraordinary capacity for adaptation, perhaps they represented a genuine threat to the long-term stability of the Empire. "Admiral?" Vexparn prompted after the silence stretched uncomfortably long. Jax'Nar made his decision. "Prepare a comprehensive assessment for the Conclave. Include all data on human adaptability and resistance. I will recommend a strategic withdrawal to reassess." Shocked murmurs spread across the bridge. Retreat was unprecedented. "And Commander Krelvor?" asked Vexparn. Jax'Nar's 4 eyes narrowed. "His insight may prove valuable. The humans believe they have a hostage, but in reality, they have given us an embedded observer. Monitor all transmissions from his neural implant." 6 months later, Maya stood atop the partially rebuilt Transamerica Pyramid, watching as the last Sarkoth ships vanished into the upper atmosphere. Beside her, Dr. Chen monitored readings on a salvaged alien device. "They're really leaving," he said, wonder in his voice. "All ships withdrawing from Earth orbit." Maya nodded, barely able to believe it herself. The past months had been a careful dance of negotiation and continued resistance. The Sarkoth had gradually pulled back from major cities, consolidating their forces while continuing to analyze humanity's unusual qualities. "Do you think they'll come back?" asked Jackson, now wearing lieutenant's bars and standing with her arm in an advanced brace fashioned from Sarkoth medical technology. "Eventually," Maya replied honestly. "But we'll be ready." The knowledge gained from reverse engineering alien technology had accelerated human development by decades in mere months. New defense systems, energy production, medical advances. Humanity had absorbed and adapted Sarkoth technology with astonishing speed. "Commander Krelvor's insights have been invaluable," Chen noted. "I still can't believe he's cooperating so fully." Maya smiled slightly. The Sarkoth commander had surprised them all, providing information and perspective that helped humanity prepare for the future. He seemed genuinely fascinated by humans, studying them as much as they studied him. "What he told me makes sense," Maya said. "The Sarkoth have been the dominant species for so long they forgot how to adapt. They relied on superior technology and predictable conquest patterns. We were the first species in centuries to genuinely surprise them. So that's why aliens fear humans," Jackson mused. "Not because we're stronger or smarter. But because we're unpredictable," Chen finished. "We don't give up when logical analysis says we should. We improvise, adapt, keep fighting against impossible odds." Maya looked up at the sky, now empty of alien ships but forever changed in humanity's consciousness. They were not alone in the universe, and they were not defenseless. "We've got a lot of work ahead," she said. "The Sarkoth are just one species in a vast galaxy. Next time, we need to be better prepared." As they descended from the building, Maya thought about the message Krelvor had conveyed from the Sarkoth conclave: "We withdraw not in defeat, but in recognition of mutual potential destruction." The human capacity for adaptation presents variables our models cannot fully predict. We will return when those variables are better understood. It wasn't peace, not truly. But it was time. Time for humanity to heal, to grow, to prepare. The Sarkoth had arrived expecting an easy conquest and instead discovered the terrifying truth about humans: when pushed to the brink, there was nothing they couldn't accomplish. The invasion had cost millions of lives and devastating destruction, but humanity emerged not broken, but transformed, united in purpose, accelerated in development, and aware of their place in a much larger, more dangerous universe. Maya looked at the modified Sarkoth communicator on her wrist, now reprogrammed to monitor deep space. The stars didn't seem as peaceful as they once had, but they didn't seem as unreachable either. "They'll be back," she said softly. "And others will come too, eventually." "Let them," Chen replied with quiet confidence. "They know who they're dealing with now." As the sun set over the recovering city, Maya allowed herself to feel, for the first time in months, something approaching hope. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and survived not through superior strength or technology, but through the qualities that had always defined them: resilience, creativity, and an absolute refusal to surrender. That was the terrifying truth that aliens had discovered about humans. And that was why they were right to fear them.